Hello, everyone. Welcome to Season 3 of Adventures in Norvald. We're playing a homebrew Pathfinder 1E campaign set in a land of ice and snow. Let's introduce our resident heroes. Dave plays our human rogue, Angelus. Ad plays our half-elf ranger, Ulf. And Lee plays our half-elf cleric, Giles. So last session, the adventurers fought a particularly difficult enemy, a chitin, a demon from a devil from the icy realms of hell. The party managed to get away with their lives, walked away with a couple of enchanted chains and a few little goodies, and went to see the wizard Gunter, who basically showed them a vision of what was happening underneath the wall of Pjent. Our party are just exiting the wizard study when, Lee, you get
I get something and Skype has frozen. I get what?
You get a tap on the shoulder.
Okay. Who's this? What do you want?
You turn round and no one's there, but strangely enough, there's a tiny little, just a roll of parchment just hovering in thin air.
Okay, I reach out to grab this and take a look at it.
Yeah. It's a tiny little note, parchment stained with blood, and it just says, "You left something back at the warehouse."
Warehouse? Which warehouse?
Where we killed the chitin.
Okay.
You left something.
It's not far, is it? The warehouse.
No, it's just off the boardwalk.
I'll just say to the guys, just need to go see what I've left. Fancy taking a walk with me just to make sure I've not left a skeleton behind or anything like that?
I think you've got that. Your bloody skeleton is not with you. It vanquished in the battle, and you did not take its bloody heap with you.
Cheers, gallows.
It's chat helping you out there.
Maybe. Okay, cool. So, yeah, can I go back and collect my skeleton, please?
Of course you do. By the time you get there, your skeleton has reanimated, and it looks considerably weak in bits and pieces. Its great axe looks a little bit dented. Its armor looks like it's been caved in a bit on the chest, but it's mostly there, and it's kind of, all the face and stuff you applied to it is just completely rent off. Like, this thing looks like a proper bloody skeleton now. So there's no disguising it. Not now. Not unless you want to try and reapply things or, find another face.
I mean, what's happened to Dave's face?
We can't see you. We can see you on the Norvald stream.
Yeah, you can see me. You just can't see. It's because of the way I've had to set up my camera. If we'll just take it. It's fine. I'm sure we can make it wait in an appropriate place. I'll try not to forget him again.
So he just, drags his axe against the floor and follows you, just roaming down the street, leaving the usual trail of blood that he does. As you get onto the boardwalk, there are people pointing, screaming, running away. It's not a usual sight in a busy city. And very shortly, a guard walks up to you and goes, "What the hell do you think you're doing?"
My mate here needs a bit of medical attention.
He looks at you and he goes, "You're one of those death priests, aren't you? Those priests of necks."
Yes.
Well, you get that foul thing covered or away. You can't just be roaming around the city like this.
Can I take your coat?
He gives you a disgusted look, and he says, "I advise that you go to the Lord's Hall, and you get permission to drag that thing around the city."
Could you get it to walk in Dave's bag?
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I pocket the skeleton into Dave's purse? I'll just tell the skeleton to stay.
Yeah, you've hidden bodies in it before. Yeah, the bloody skeleton will go straight in. regardless of whether you tell it to walk in or Dave does the old Mary Poppins bag quickly over its head, because that's how she kidnaps children. He does the old purple purse straight over the head, and away the bloody skeleton goes.
Yeah.
And the guard nods at you, and he says, "We shan't have any of your funny business again."
Yes, guard.
He nods, and he stays where he is, arms crossed. He says, "Carry on then."
Oh, sorry, go on. Lee.
I was probably going to say the same thing. I was just thinking, shall we go see the wizard? Get some. It is a wizard, isn't he? Who's the appraisal person?
Oh, the blue-armed guy.
Mercane?
Yeah.
Can
We're going to see him.
we go see McCain?
And his oven chips.
And his chips.
Yeah, so you're right near the pier. So yeah, you know that the McCain ship is docked there, the giant golden ship.
I swear you said McCain chip then.
Yeah. So you guys head there if you like.
Excellent.
Yeah, sure.
As we get there, I knock on the door.
Excellent. So as you get onto the pier, the same old port authority guy comes out with his little chest, and he says, a copper to be on the pier."
Isn't there like...
We paid this copper earlier today, didn't we?
Yeah.
He shakes his head. He says, "I've not seen you today. I saw you yesterday, not today."
Have we slept since then, have we?
He nods.
Fine. Chuck him in the coffers.
He takes the 3 copper off you, pops it in his thing, and nods as you go on your way. You get to the McCain ship. Same deal, same crew, loading and unloading things. They give you a nod. They already know you and wave you down. They say, "Big Blue's free."
Excellent.
And you go down into the murky depths of the ship. It's a lot brighter today. He's got some little orbs of light whizzing round, and you can see the statues really illuminated nicely. And he's got a big chest, and this time for some reason, he's got less arms today. He did have 4 arms last time. Must have been some sort of enchantment or spell, but he's got 2 this time. And he's counting out with his 4-fingered hands. He's just counting out some coins. And he looks at you and says, "Oh, have you got anything interesting for me today?"
I pull out my wand and go, yeah, I just wonder if you could appraise this for me.
He says, "I'll have a look, but are you intending on trading this item?"
That depends. I haven't made a decision yet. I don't know anything about this item, so...
He scratches his chin and he says, I normally charge a small fee for the appraisal of items.
How much?
Today it'll be free, but another time I will charge you. And he puts his hands out for the wand.
Okay, pass him the wand over.
Okay, so he looks at it and gives it a sniff, and he puts it in the center of one palm, and eerily it stands up straight, and with his other hand he waves over it. And you see at the end of the wand, there's just a tiny little bead of light, and then it really brights up a 30-foot radius. And then he puts his hand over it again, and he gives it you back, and he says, "This is a wand of light."
Okay. Do I know what a wand of light is?
He says it's a wand that casts the spell light.
Okay, how could one use light as a weapon?
He shakes his head. He says it's for, it's instead of using a torch, it's just a fancy magical way of lighting up a room. It's not an offensive weapon, but if you've got magical darkness, for example, this will overcome it. If it's just a dark night, you can use the wand of light to light things.
Do you know the spell to cast the wand of light?
What do you mean? And he furrows his brow. You mean the trigger word for the wand?
Yes.
He says you just say light in common.
Okay. I'll take the wand off him. Hopefully, he'll give it me back. And I just go, light!
30 foot around you just absolutely bursts into really bright light, and beyond it you can see all the corners of the room. It's quite nice, pleasant light.
How do I turn it off?
So light lasts.
Oh,
Have a
no.
quick look.
It's on for like 2 days.
So light lasts 10 minutes per spell level. So for the next 10 minutes this wand is going to be bright.
Per spell level? Oh, yeah, okay. So spell level would be 1, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because it's a level 1 wand. So
Okay. Excellent. I have I got a pocket, or I'll put it in my bag.
there is it's quite bright. So there is a little glow from your bag that's noticeable in this darkness. But yeah, it is what it is. What it is. The McCain takes his palm out and he starts chanting, and his big fingers sort of just really prominent in the darkness. And he starts chanting and he goes, I sense new magical items for you to trade. And he points at Ad and the 2 chains wrapped around his chest.
I'll walk forward towards Big Blue and I go, possibly something to trade.
He nods. He's a large creature, so he just extends one hand for one of the chains.
Okay, I'll let him take the chain.
Cool. This large, what would be a 2-handed chain for you, he wields it with one.
What's he?
That's so funny.
He wields it with. You need like intermission music, Dave, or making that rapid cover a bit more casual. Maybe you just need to put your face closer to the camera and give us an intense stare.
Oh.
So the chain begins to wave around in his hand, and he says, an enchanted chain. This would make you more accurate, deal a bit more damage. It's a very low-level enchantment, the basic one, the first step of an enchantment.
Okay. So
It's still worth quite a bit of money, particularly for the pair, up to the tune of 6,000 gold.
wow.
So, you know when you watch a TV program and all of a sudden they look at the camera and they go, Robin, stay still.
No.
There she is.
We all to make it more subtle, we all need to cover our cameras. What's going on?
Just
So yeah, he
It's just
says
arrived.
they're worth 6,000 gold on their own. I wouldn't pay full price. I'd give you probably about 4,000 gold for them.
Do you know what? I will actually trade him 4,000 gold for those.
He nods. He claps his hand, puts his hands behind his back, and then out comes a big bag of gold, and he just puts it in front of you. The gold is spilling out. 4,000 gold straight in a pouch.
I'll hand him the chains.
He nods. He says, marvellous, wonderful, be an excellent addition to my collection. And he claps his hands, and 2 of the giant statue warriors just shuffle forward. Then these ones aren't armed, and they pick it up in their hands and just retreat back. And he says, fantastic.
Concerting those.
No, I'm not keen on those soldiers, man. I hope they're on our side.
Awesome.
He says, anything I can do for you, gentlemen. More. It's always good to have wonderful guests to do business with.
I don't think you didn't have anything, did you, Dave?
Don't think so.
you haven't got any heads or anything like that?
Oh, got the chitin's head, haven't I? I say,
You gave it to Gunter, didn't you?
Oh, we gave it to Gunter, you did.
we're
You?
going to give you one too.
He wanted the whole body, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to fetch it.
Well, I think we're done here then.
Mhm.
Should we catch up with Vigo?
Yes, that sounds like a
It
good
is
plan.
Vigo, isn't it?
Wasn't Blue Arms meant to help us out with Vigo once he could contribute into the army? But we need to do a few things for him first.
So Vigo's currently in negotiation with Big Blue. He's trying to, like you say, he's trying to recruit his statue warriors to his military. But the rumor you got in the bar was that Vigo didn't offer him anything pricey enough to employ his services. But you've not asked Big Blue about it.
Okay. Big Blue, have you thought any more about helping Vigo and his Avenger?
He scratches his chin. War is not a profitable endeavour for a McCain. Vigo did tempt me here with some particularly choice items, but the cost of employing one of my stone warriors, well, if I take any sort of action that's hostile, I make myself enemies. And being a merchant, I like the ability to trade anywhere. Should Vigo not win his war, then I would be unwelcome in Norvald. It's quite a high risk, and he hasn't offered me a weapon of sufficient value yet for me to engage in warfare, nor has Rugulf, the Lord in the South, taken any hostile actions against me. So until such time, I'll remain neutral. But I'm happy to trade. I'm happy to share exotic items. I'm certainly happy to keep gold for some. So I think I'll stay at this port for a little time anyway. At least until the army invades, and I'm sure they'll let me by. And if they don't, he clicks his fingers, and every single one of the statuettes goes into a salute.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, if there was, what would you class as a weapon to help out in this endeavor? What would be pricey enough to help?
He presses his fingers together, and his eyes go a little bit wider, and he says, something rare, something interesting. I hear there's a rumor floating around about the enemy forces that they've been messing with demonic powers. A little bird named Gunter told me about something that he'd seen about Slograx.
Yes.
If the secret to their creation was discovered and shared with me, and the ingredients of creating such a creature would be shared, then I might lend a few of my statue warriors to Vigo. Not the whole bunch, just a couple, but you'd be surprised what difference a couple of them could make.
Okay. So you want basically the recipe on how to create these creatures?
He nods. He says they're not native to this realm or the demonic realm. There's something special about them. I hear they're related very distantly to troglodytes. But how they mutate the troglodytes, I don't know. It's incredibly interesting. I'm only a novice practitioner of magic myself, but it's fascinating, really. Maybe I could use the magic to better enhance my stone warriors, or who knows, I might have a few Slograx myself lying in wait somewhere.
Sounds cool. So, you believe the enemies in the south have this recipe?
He nods. Oh, definitely.
Okay. Do you have any leads by any chance that you think might have it?
He cocks his head. No leads. Just, wherever there are Slograx, I imagine the means of production are there.
Okay. Not a problem. Thank you for the information. We'll see what turns up.
Miles, I'm sure I'll be thanking you for the information.
Should we move on to see Vigo? Goodbye, McCain. Enjoy your chips. We'll see you in a bit.
You exit into the fresh air of outside and realised actually it was very stuffy down in that boat. The incense was really claustrophobic, and the statuettes that stare at you. It just seems a bit eerie down there. As much of a nice bloke as Big Blue is, he certainly likes an eerie environment to conduct his trading. Vigo's not far away. You can see the Lord's Hall very easily from your location. It's just climbing up the boardwalk, up the steps through the main city, and it's the fort on the hill. So you go through. The city's lovely. Guards seem to be leaving you alone. Can I get perceptions from you all?
15.
30.
13.
13. Ad, you notice that there is on the boardwalk someone watching you from underneath the floorboards of the boardwalk. And as quickly as you notice this person underneath staring up at you, they've gone. They've vanished immediately.
Okay, I'll mention to these pair that there's somebody watching us.
Might be part of the Heimdall Hounds. Maybe.
That's all Ad sees, I'm afraid. You arrive at the hall, and there's two guards at the front, and they nod at you. And one of them says, "About time. Vigo's been waiting."
Oh.
Take the servants' entrance, and he points to a smaller door in the side of the building.
What do you take us for? Okay.
He says, "I've been ordered to show you through the servants' quarters. I believe there's an old friend waiting for you."
Okay.
Intriguing.
As you go through the servants' quarters, you go through a kitchen, a couple of small waiting rooms. You notice small, statues, all sorts of statues of servants, a couple of dwarves, a gnome. You don't often see a gnome. It's a very rare thing to see a gnome. And a couple of older humans, all with like food and all sorts of things rushing in and out of the main hall. And you are led by the guard to a room on the end. It's a circular stone room with a table in the middle. And on the table are 3 brown robes. And the guard says, "If you would kindly, could you remove all your clothing? Not your weapons and your armor. You can keep your weapons and armor. But if you could remove all your clothing and put these brown robes on, and we will take your clothes and we will launder them."
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Are they really just plain brown robes? There's nothing.
Yeah. Well, do you want to do a
About
perception?
Yeah.
Yeah.
29.
They're just plain brown robes. What's strange about the robes is they cover most of the mouth and the face. They've got a short sight out, but the hood's very concealing wear.
Okay.
And you can't seem to be able to wear it without it covering the majority of your face.
I'll say to... Did you say there was someone in the room who asked us to put them on?
He nods. He says, "Vigo asked."
I'll ask that person if is there any reason up there that we shouldn't be known?
He shrugs. He says, "Vigo's a intelligent diplomat. He's certainly in charge of this city. I'd just do what he says, to be honest with you."
Okay. I guess we're still keeping our weapons, did he say?
He nods. He says, "Weapons and armor are fine. Just remove your clothes."
Okay. Fine.
The way you say that just sounds too eager. What?
He seems really eager to get your clothes.
So shall we just say to him, like, turn around, dude?
Yeah. He says, "Oh, would you like me to leave?"
Sure.
He nods. He exits the room. He says, "I'll be back in a minute for your clothes."
Why is he so eager?
Don't know.
Can you do a detect magic at Lee? To check there's nothing about these robes that's going to do us over.
On the Riverside Gooners. This is Vigo, though. This don't make any sense. I should detect. Well, hang on a minute. Don't I have something to detect what they want to do, like what their intentions are? Let me have a look.
That might be a higher level spell, Lee. You have detect magic and you have detect poison are your 2 level 0 spells.
I also have detect evil.
Yes, you do have detect evil as well. Yeah, you have you detect alignment, don't you?
Do you want me
I think
to
that's
detect
a level
magic?
1
Then?
though.
Let me detect magic.
Okay, so a cone. You point your hand, and in a cone shape, you start to detect the magic in the room. And as you sweep round, you notice that there's no magic in the room, apart from the obvious magical items that you have on you, like your wand and other things like that. Ad's menacing sword. The more you linger on that, the more you don't like its aura. And Dave's obsessive axe envy.
Okay.
Seems all
Robes are fine.
Okay.
I'll just shrug. Look at Giles, shrug and go, fine. Put them on.
Excellent. Do you all remove your clothing and put on the brown robes?
Yeah. I will.
Yeah, I do it.
Cool. So a minute later, the servant comes back in and bows, and he gathers all the clothes very quickly, and he takes them, and he basically runs out of the room. And a couple of minutes later, if you wait, you see Sved enter the room, and he looks around and he says, "Those servants' outfits look a bit strange on you boys, but there's something that you guys should see. In a couple of minutes' time, I want you to file out with the rest of the servants and come into the main hall. And while you're there, I don't want you to speak. I don't want you to do anything. I just want you to watch."
Okay. So taking Vigo's not going to know we're there, or?
Well, this is our man Sved, isn't he? He's like, maybe is he working another angle to Vigo?
Do you ask him that?
I mean, yeah, I'll ask him. Can you give us a clue as to what we're meant to? What do you want us to observe exactly?
He says, "Just don't be shocked by what you see." And he just leaves the room.
Oh.
Okay.
So couple of minutes go by. I don't know if you're going to do anything in this room. It's a pretty simple room. There's a sliver of a window that leads to the outside. You wouldn't be able to fit through it, but it's enough to fire an arrow out. The rest of the room is very simple and plain. It's just cobbles, a plain table that your outfits were on, and just the one exit. You've still got all your weapons, all your armor, everything, and you begin to hear the rest of the servants begin to shuffle, and they're wearing all very similar clothing, and they're walking out into the main hall. And what you see is a woman opens the door, and she says, "Come with me."
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. File
You're
out.
led out through a long corridor that's lit by torchlight, and you end up in the main chamber. You see a group of people round a table, in particular, 2 dwarves, one female looking incredibly regal. She's got a golden armored breastplate on. She's got a massive helmet, and she's surrounded by a couple of smaller dwarven guards. All of them have these big towering halberds that are a lot bigger than themselves. Next to her is a small, almost unimpressive dwarf. He looks like a simple miner. And opposite them, there's Vigo, there's Sved. There's a couple of female nobles who are very fancifully dressed. And you notice that you see Heinrich in the back as well as the other servants. And you see 3 people who look a little bit like you guys, and they're wearing your clothes.
What?
Oh, okay.
Instead of there being 2 half-elves and a human, though, there is 2 humans and what looks like a half-elf. But you guys being half-elves, you can see that this guy's just had maybe a bit of magic to make his ears look funny, because the rest of him, he looks very human.
Can I?
They're standing there in your clothes, and they are just looking down at the ground, and they look really quite upset. And the dwarf is shouting at Vigo, and she's saying, "Are these the men? Are these the men that killed dwarven citizens outside of Blood?"
Ooh.
And Vigo nods. And the guards step forward, and they plunge their halberd straight into these 3 guys' heads. Pulls it out, and these 3 guys just drop to the floor. And like one of them's like twitching, and the other guy's like there, and then the other guy's just had his head chopped off. And she nods, and she says, "Well, the deed is done, and we shall not assist either side, but trading will remain open. I don't want to have any of these issues with you again. And the next time any of your men harm dwarven citizens, we will go to war." And she gets up and nods and turns to the dwarf beside her. And she said, that was the men, right? They were the ones who killed. And you guys recognize this dwarf as the lone survivor from the dwarven group that you guys butchered.
Kill everybody.
Are these the
outside
ones
of
that
Blood.
were wolves? Is that
These were the ones that were killing the boars
right? Yeah. Okay.
and held
Yeah.
the priest of Cassis captive.
Yeah.
And you guys just absolutely massacred them.
Yeah.
And there was one survivor. He was the one who mugged you, Ad.
Ah. Okay.
And actually, you see a couple of your items about his person. You recognise the pouch on his hip. There's a dagger that's yours, and you notice that he's garnered with a few of your items.
Wow.
And he sort of looks around the room and he says, "I think that was them. Like I don't quite remember, but they look. But the clothing was right. I thought maybe there were 2 half elves, but I could be wrong. They killed us very easily." And Vigo says, "Well, the deed is done. Now, please leave us to get on with our business. As you can see, our servants are here for the banquet. And as you've already made very clear, you don't want to stay and negotiate any further with us." And the dwarven lady bows and nods, and she leaves the room, and her guards leave with them. And the servants begin to set the table, serve everything out, and the women begin to eat the bread, the starters. And Vigo beckons towards you 3.
Okay. We'll walk over to him.
You've caused me somewhat of a predicament with your antics in Blood. However, I appreciate that you delivered me the chieftains in the battle, and they've already taken the village of Baelt, and they continue to progress south. So you've done me a massive favour in one respect, and in others, you've caused me a bit of a diplomatic issue. Today was a olive branch that I extend towards you, a courtesy for the favour that you've done to me. As you can see, these 3 men they paid the price for a mistake that you made. However, it wasn't it was overall a success in Blood, so thank you very much. But I just wanted to show you the loose end that I needed to tidy up on your behalf.
Okay. There might be a few more of those.
He scowls. And he says, maybe the next time I won't be using common thieves and bandits to take the fall, depending on how it is. But at the moment, let's celebrate. You've done a good job.
Cool. And next time there won't be any survivors.
He smiles and he says, exactly, that's my point.
That backfired on me, didn't it?
He says, either way, you wipe them out or they take you out. I won't have operatives running around, leaving a bloody mess.
Amen.
Anyway, let's begin. And he clicks his fingers and food's brought down to you. You'll obviously need to get some new clothes. I wouldn't say that you need to assume more identities because dwarves, they didn't recognize you in the first place. Your clothes sufficed as enough of a disguise. But here's some money, and he throws 100 gold at you in a small pouch. And he says, for new clothing, new items, you're already paid for your services in the city through potions and money that you were given. Heinrich tells me that you've run into some trouble threatening Pjent, more so than the army sitting outside.
Oh, yeah. The thing's digging under the city.
Things?
Skullgrigs?
Yeah.
And also a strange guy who appears to be quite powerful magically.
An enchanter. From the sounds of it, monsters. I wondered why they hadn't brought any equipment to scale the walls of Pjent. I thought it was unusual and there must have been some sort of unusual plot afoot. This could prove us with some issues. However, there is a solution. What I don't recommend is you go out and take any sort of military action against the army outside of our city. That would be suicide for any of our soldiers and warriors. The best tactic in war is to stay behind the walls of the city that you're in. However, there's been a conundrum that's been picking at us. There have been some smugglers ongoing in the city that have been able to sneak in and out of the city's walls. They've certainly not been using our waterways because the Port Authority would have picked it up. However, these smugglers don't seem to be particularly local, but they also at the same time have a pretty good idea of the network of the walls, being able to slip in and slip out. They seem to have an exit by the swamp and an entrance somewhere within the city. Heinrich managed to accost some of these smugglers. However, 2 of them died. One of them is in custody downstairs. We could do us both a favour by finding this smuggler's network, because it may lead us to the location that these Slogrics, you say, are digging under the city walls. I would say the best thing would be a reconnaissance mission. Find out where this exit and entrance to the city is. Go through it. Tell us the location, what's going on. Can you do any reconnaissance on these Slogrics? And then come back and we can make a plan from there. We do have means within these walls to defend the city. My thought is, depending on where they are, some well-placed explosives or something of the like.
Okay.
We have some explosives at hand.
He says anything can be procured in a city such as this. If you find where these Slogrics are, I may put you in charge of some.
So, Angelus, do you think you'd recognise these smugglers?
I dare say I would.
He says if you're interested, there's a dungeon downstairs with a survivor remaining and 2 bodies. I hear that's of interest to a priest of Nex, and he looks towards Giles.
I can take care of them for you.
He nods. He closes his hands and he says, well, what are you doing, gentlemen? Get to work.
Can I pop downstairs whilst I'm here? Saves
He
job later.
nods. He clicks his fingers and Heinrich comes to his side. And he says, show them to our guests. And Heinrich immediately begins to leave the room and sort of beckons you guys to come with him.
I'll be like, be careful, because there may be somebody in the city who's come to spring this guy that's in the dungeon. It's the guy that I saw earlier.
He smiles and he says, wonderful. There's always room for more guests. And he gets back to his meal and proceeds to ignore you.
So I'll follow downstairs then to the basement.
Cool. So as you begin to exit, do you two follow Angelus and
Yeah.
Ulf? So you guys follow Heinrich, and he turns around and he looks at you and he says, Vigo, eh? Scary man. Incredibly powerful man. You know he's likely to be the next Jarl.
Well, he's certainly done us a favour today.
He nods. He says he's done me a great deal of favours. That's why I'm in his personal guard. While I've been getting rid of elves, some colleagues of mine have been getting rid of smugglers within the city. These ones seem to be of a different calibre as the ones we've had previously. We've had basic smugglers. These guys are vicious killers. In fact, one of my colleagues is dead apprehending these two men. Two of them being twins, one of them being just a random. He's a smuggler that we know of, but these other two we'd never met previously. And he brings you down a spiral staircase into a dungeon. And this is where I get to change to my dungeon scene.
Do you know any twins, Angelus?
Do I know any twins? I believe I do.
The dungeon is cold, echoey, and dank. The cobblestone floors and walls just drip with dampness. And you notice a table at the end of the room before you see anything else as a slither of light highlights it. You see a cleaver covered in blood. You see a pair of calipers and tongs. You see a piece of bone and a skull. And a scroll with just endless pieces of information written on it. Completely random. The screams of a tortured soul. Heinrich stands there, and he beckons you to a cage at the end of the room, and two slabs on the floor, each with a corpse on it. The two corpses are barely recognizable, but Dave, you notice the distinctive birthmark at the scalp and the back of the skull of the two bodies, almost identical. You know these people as the Brindle brothers, a pair of particularly vicious fighters who are from the Hindle Hounds. You've known them since childhood. Whilst you didn't part particularly well with the Hindle Hounds, these are people you've known all your life. Twins that followed each other around at every opportunity, played with you as a child, and you've seen them butcher innocent people as well.
Yeah, I recognise them then.
So
These are definitely the people. These are the ones who I'm accused of killing anyway.
how do I go about giving these to... Because they're already dead, so I don't need to really do anything. How do I go about giving them to next? Do I have to take them out of here, bury them, say a ritual, burn them to death? Well, they're already dead, but what's the best way to go about this?
So next, your god takes souls and takes corpses. So if you kill a creature, you give Nex the soul, if you provided you do it through a ritual, or you can bury the body and leave the body for one of the souls that Nex will use in the future to inhabit that body at the end of the world. So Nex values preservation, so any type of embalming or burying of a body Nex appreciates. So as long as the corpse remains in good condition and is left in a place in which it can be reanimated, Nex is pretty happy with you. Obviously, as a priest of Nex, to get brownie points, you'd say a prayer, do a blessing, etc. So Nex knows where that body is, but that would be generally how you would turn these bodies over to Nex.
Is it bad that I'm just thinking about turning them into two skeletons?
You could do that as well. Nex is equally as happy. She loves, or he loves, undead.
Do you know what? I think I might reanimate them and put them into Dave's bag.
Can you, by any chance, reanimate them and get them to talk?
I think that's a different spell.
You do have that spell, though.
Yeah. But if you remember, we've done it before. The answers aren't great.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you can get him, it'd be quite useful if we could, so we can find out who killed them potentially.
We know who killed them. That's why
Was
they're
the
in
guy,
here.
wasn't it?
They're in
Oh,
here. Because been killed by Vigo's men.
Oh God, yeah. No, yeah.
So no need to that. I was thinking I could either embalm them, bury them, give them to next, or I could visit them, pop them in your bag, and that's 2 extra skeletons for the next fight that we get into.
You need some onyxes to raise them.
Oh crap! Don't know if I've got any of them. I probably don't have any left. Let's have a look. Da, 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 da. I think 2 small silver rings, 1 large silver ring. Did I use them?
Yes.
Oh, I need to delete them off my sheet. I think in this case, I'm just going to get to work, prepare the bodies, and then I will need the help of Ulf and Angelus to drag these bodies outside somewhere to bury them.
Okay. As you begin to do your work, you hear a rattling in the bars opposite, and you see a weak figure. And he says, "What you doing to those bodies?"
Angela, you recognise this guy?
Don't know.
You take a look. This isn't a man you know, Dave. This is just an emaciated figure who's clearly been in here a week, and he's just rattling the bars just endlessly. He's haggard, long beard, a few tattoos on his face. He looks maybe like some sort of sailor. And he says, "What are you guys doing?"
Just prepare them for the next journey into another world.
"Let me out. Please
No.
let me out. They've tortured me for days.
Why are you here?
I was captured with them. I was moving some goods.
Why were they killed?
They put up a fight. We were surrounded by 5 men. Those guys fought like animals. They killed a couple of them, and they died for it. Me, I put my hands up straight away. I'm a smuggler, not a fighter. See, these new guys moved in, and they're a different animal." And then he looks horrified that he's overspoken, like puts his hand over his mouth. "Let me out. Please let me out."
What are you thinking?
How did you get into the city?
They'll kill me, you know.
Well, I think you left in here to die either way.
You've not seen these guys and how they operate. See, we were a small smuggling outfit using a raft to get some small goods in and out of the city. These guys moved in, killed many of my friends. I saw how they died. I'm not dying like that. At least Vigo will slit my throat.
So, if you tell us, sure you're better off left in here.
Can I get persuasion from you, Ed?
Oh no.
Diplomacy.
Oh. Would that be bluff for me? I take it.
No diplomacy, based on your argument.
Oh, sorry, I've got diplomacy. I didn't see it. 7.
What, 7 in total? Have you rolled your
Yeah.
20?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Mine's -2. My diplomacy.
Oh,
He says,
no.
"You've not met these guys, man. You've not met these guys. Just let me out. Come on, please. They'll get you next."
Angelus,
Yes.
You know these people that are scaring the life out of him. Any ideas? Do you have one of those tattoos? Do they have a tattoo or anything?
I don't know. Do I have a tattoo?
Your hounds.
Do you? It's your choice, Dave. If you don't, then they don't. If you do, then they do.
I'm just thinking if you can scare the crap out of him because you're one of them.
Potentially.
Or do you want me to scare the living daylights out of them?
Bring on the necromancer.
I mean, I'll say I'll have one.
Yeah.
It's a bit more up on me, like on my shoulder up here kind of thing. But I've been picking at it for years, trying to get it out of my skin. So it looks a bit haggard, but it's the same. You can still tell that it's there.
Yeah. This
So-
guy has the same one, only it's not a tattoo. It's a brand, and it's straight across his neck, and it looks painful. It looks like it was branded really sloppily, like a "you're mine." And he looks at you, and his eyes widen, and he says, "You're going to get me out, right?"
Depends if you give us what we want.
I've not talked. I've not told them anything.
How would I know that for sure?
So can I reach out to him and just put my hand on his wrist and just go?
He jaunts. There's not enough room to move because this is like a man-sized cage. But I mean, you'd be able to grab him really easily. But when you put your hand up to him, he goes like completely to the opposite side of the cage with his eyes wide. He's still got his legs crossed, but he's completely like back as much as he can be. And you take a sniff of the air, and he has just urinated himself.
As he should.
I just say to him, I says, "Can you tell us everything that we want to ask you? Answer all of our questions, sorry. For every question that you don't answer, he takes a step forward."
Can I get a intimidation, please?
Oh, okay.
To get his intimidation, I don't even need to bluff this. I just turn around to him, tell us what we want to know, or I kill you now.
I will take Dave's intimidation on top of that. You'll get bonuses based on how intimidating you guys are being, but it's a 7 plus d20 for Dave.
Yep. So I got 22 in that one.
22. He initially is like, but as you take a step forwardly, he goes, I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you everything. Absolutely everything. What do you want to know? I was born in the city. I'm 32 years old. I don't have any family. I just want to live. Please let me live.
Any of us got a question that we want to ask him?
We need to know how they got in and out.
Oh no, Skype's playing up.
Yeah, can you hear us, Lee?
Yeah, I've got you back now. Sorry, it just cut out for a second. So how they got in and out of the city?
He says, I don't know. They don't tell us non-hounds that. But I know where the hideout is, and you can find people who do know that information.
Where's the hideout?
Yeah.
It's in the old part of the boardwalk. There's a couple of houses that look like they're rotting away, but they've rebuilt the inside of them. They've linked them all together. They've created some sort of weird puzzle. We had to knock on the far side and go in, and there's a hidden lever behind a wardrobe, and you go down, and they tell you password, and you go through. But it's they've stopped letting us in. There's been a lot of strange things happening recently. I mean, they were super paranoid that someone called Angelus had come back to kill them because people went missing. Obviously, the Brindle brothers. They didn't realise it was the guards in the city rounding up all the smugglers because of the siege. Because, we've been stocking food, we've been stocking goods, all those things. So they wanted our stash. But yeah, it's all at a hideout. But I don't know how they get in and out of the city. I know they still are, but they don't tell us. Like I say, we used to get in and out of the city via a raft. and then they came, killed most of us, and then we just started hauling cargo for them inside the city.
Okay, so it looks like we're going to have to do a bit more to get this information. And Angelus, I'll say out loud.
He goes, I'll tell you where their house is, and he describes the exact location of where the 4 houses are linked together. And he says it's the one on the right, the one on the far right on the boardwalk that you want to go into. Like I say, there's a secret tunnel. You have to go into each house to solve the puzzle.
Okay, do you know the puzzle? The answers to all the puzzles?
He shakes his head. He says, I've only been in the first building. I had a friend who went in another one. Apparently it's just the levers are hidden in different locations.
I mean, have we got everything we need out of him, guys, do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. Giles?
I'm just wondering. I think we've got everything we need. Do you want to let
nods? Are you gonna let me out now?
He's going to free you.
Yeah, we're going to free.
Jesus Christ, guys!
I reach out. I put my hand on his wrist. I say, "Don't worry," and I send bleeding touch.
Jesus. Lee, roll for damage.
Is that a D8? How many D8s is it for bleeding touch?
No, it's a D6 for bleeding touch.
Cool. Excellent. 4.
I mean, this guy is like on 1 HP. He's just just a guy who's been tortured incessantly. So you put your hand on him and you feel the dark energy pulse through you, and immediately his eyes start bleeding, his mouth starts bleeding from his ears, from his fingertips, from any of the wounds that they've given him. Just it completely rushes out of him, and he hits the floor like a sack of potatoes and starts just twitching.
I'd say, remember Vigo's wise words, no loose ends.
Nice.
Crushed it. Love it.
Excellent. Well, there's no one alive down here to talk to, so let's move on.
Did you get your 6 skeletons and chuck them in my bag?
Oh, yeah.
You're filleting these people and popping them in Dave's bag.
We may as well pop them in for later.
I mean, there's the tools if you're gonna get straight down to the bone. There's the meat cleaver. There's the
Okay, yeah. Actually, yeah. I'll prepare the bodies for transport.
That's the polite way of it. I mean, with all the tools here, it probably takes a good hour for you to do this. To the 2 bodies of the poor Brindle brothers. You lift up the shirts, the tattoos in the same place on the chest. You begin your work. The guy's still bleeding out and twitching in the man cage. And as you're doing this, Heinrich comes downstairs, looks at you, spins on his toes, immediately heads back up the stairs. He's just not interested in what you're doing at all.
Do you shout upstairs? Do you want the ears?
You have no response. He's already left the room. He's a sick man, but he's not as sick as you guys. Neutral my ass. This is a chaotic evil party.
Well, I think Giles, the cleric, has just turned them into chaotic evil. I think they started off good.
I mean, I'd planned his character to be good. Dave naively thought he was going to be neutral. Okay, you guys finish up, and you're left with just. There's been a bucket that I assume everything's gone into, but there's a couple of buckets of flesh now, and there's the body still in the man cage. For some reason, you can't find the key, and it certainly doesn't exist down here. And yeah, that's it. The dungeon absolutely smells horrible. It smells a lot worse now. You filleted 2 people.
I I'll say a little prayer for the guy in the cage, so his soul can be released to next. And yeah, that takes care of him. Someone else can deal with the body later.
Nice. As you're praying, you notice just a bit more blood gushing out of him, and you hear the air just passes from him as he goes to the next world. As you show him where next he's going to harvest his soul and use it to fuel the corpses at the end of the world. So yeah,
Happy days.
happy days.
All the bones are in his bag, in Angelus's bag, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Where else do we need to go today?
Do we want to go and find Dave's friends?
Let's do it.
Well, that's along the broad walk, isn't it? 4 houses, one on the right.
So you guys already have a place in the boardwalk, an inn that you're staying at, because you're all staying in the communal area, aren't you? Of the inn at the boardwalk. If I remember correctly, that's the. It's not the Trout Face. That's something else. It's the Salty Maid.
Salty man.
Oh yeah.
That you guys are staying at. So this place isn't far. It's just a bit further south down the boardwalk, and you guys walk until you get there. And this place seems absolutely desolate. Half the boardwalk's been dissolved into the sea, completely rotten. There's 4 large houses together as described. What I'm going to do is I am just going to put you to the map of it. And you can see. There we go. And you can see this area.
Oh look, Skeleton's with us.
It is. It's in the bag for now, but it is with you. On the left-hand side of you, you see a guard, and he's looking at you guys, and he's saying, "What you guys doing here?"
We're just staying locally. Just calling back for a bite to eat.
He says, "Well, there's been a murder around here."
Oh, who died?
He points behind him, and he says, "A local scallywag. Don't know who killed him, but his body's relatively fresh. Stumbled across him this morning. I'm waiting for the cart to take his body away. You guys didn't see anything, did you?"
Sorry, when you say stumbled, did you trip over him?
He smirks, and he shakes his head. He says, "No, I was patrolling up this end, and I just saw the body. And like I said, rang the bell. I'm waiting for the rag and bone man to take this corpse away."
Would you mind if I had a quick look? I'm quite good with the dead.
Pervert, eh? For a couple of copper, I can look the other way. He puts out his hand for the copper.
Okay, I'll give him a copper.
He shakes. He says, "This one's a little bit lonely."
Okay, I'll give him another 2.
He nods, grunts, and then he moves away, just out of eyesight.
Okay.
And he starts whistling, like, "I can't hear anything. I don't know what's going on."
Can I move over to the body and search the corpse, please?
Yeah, of course you can. Can I get a perception, please?
Yeah. 23.
23. You notice that there's a key in his pocket,
I'll take that.
and this guy has been stabbed. This guy's been stabbed a lot. This guy's been stabbed like 18 times in the back. And he has a mysterious powder in his pocket. He's got big welts in his hand, like he was carrying something large. But other than that, this guy doesn't have anything else on him apart from the key.
I'll take the key. And did you say he had some powder?
Yeah, just some miscellaneous loose powder in his pocket.
Just about nothing else. Okay, so it's clearly been in a dusty-ish environment. Yeah, so that key, does it look like it could potentially fit any lock on the houses?
So the fronts of the doors are here, 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 and here on the boardwalk. As you can see, there's a large group of barrels here. The body's here. So you'll just have to try some doors. It's an old rusty key, and on it says 4, like chiseled in to the metal.
Well, we know that the house is the last one on the right. So can we go? There's nothing else on his body, is there? It's not someone we recognise.
There's some. I mean, you guys are still in your weird brown outfits.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
But these buildings seem all rotten, sunken into the ground. The roofs don't even look on half of them. But yeah, you guys inspecting this one on the end.
Yeah. Well, you go through them one at a time, isn't it? Each one locks into the other one.
Well, no, I'll try the very end one first anyway, because that's where the guy was saying to go before we killed him off. So Mills try them first. Just want to check though. Can you just take a look at this guy's face and tell me if you recognise him?
Sure.
So Dave, you can't recognise it. Again, this is another guy with a brand on his face. So he's one of the indoctrinees, if that's a word. Inductees. There we go. To the Hindle Hounds. He's not a willing participant in the whole situation.
Okay.
Right. I will take a walk round and try the key in the door.
Cool. You place it in. It's really rusty, but it'll turn in the lock and the door prizes open slightly. And inside, you see it looks like an absolute mess in there. Give me a second. I will just reveal what's going on in here. So as you guys can see, the place looks absolutely trashed. It looks like, again, like the person described, it's built a lot nicer on the inside than it was on the outside. It looks like some work's been done to the interior. The floor's been reboarded, even though it's been sunken down into the ground. And whilst you feel a bit, you see the damp seeping up, it looks like this place has been fixed up. It looks like it's been used. This place is just an absolute wreck. There's blood on the floor. Looks relatively fresh, even though the damp started to merge it with the floorboards. And otherwise, it just looks like a really basic hovel. There isn't a bed. There's a table. There's a toilet. There's a table and a chair. The table's been smashed. The chair's broken. And there's, apart from a fire, which strangely enough, there's an active fire in it. There's a coat on a hanger. And that's all you guys can. There's nothing unusual about this room other than that.
Can I start tapping on the floor with my foot, see if it sounds any different in certain areas?
Yeah, of course you can. Can you give me a perception while you do this? Can I get a perception from all of you?
$19.
22.
24.
Cool. You continue to stomp around, and the area where the table's smashed over, you hear it sounds hollow. And you notice that there's a trapdoor almost seamlessly against the floor.
Shall we, lads? Do you want to go in? I proceed to try and open the trapdoor.
You pull on the handle, and it doesn't budge.
Can I take a closer look at the coat on the hook?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, what do you want to do with it? It just looks like a green coat hung up by a hook.
I'll give the coat a tug downwards on the hook.
Yeah. You give it a tug, and It's a coat attached to a hook, so it doesn't exactly pull off very easily. But as you do, you hear a spring, and the trapdoor pops.
Nice. Try it now, Giles.
Look at me being super obvious where the levers are.
Nice.
I don't think I'd have looked at the code, to be fair, so it's a good job ads here to check those things out. Yeah, I'm pulling on the trapdoor and I'm looking. I assume I'm looking down. I don't know if I can hear anything.
Yeah, it looks like a dark corridor, and you realise as you pull open the trapdoor that there's you hear like a tiny little bell going tinkle 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 tinkle, and then silence.
I reach into my bag, grab my wand, and go light.
Okay, light fills the corridor underneath you. That'll only fill it by so much, but I'll reveal what you can see. So, guys, north of the map is the actual tunnel. I put it on the same one. You can see the set of stairs from the trapdoor going down. You see a set of stairs going up, but the corridor just continues, really long, black, endless. You can't see the end to it, but that's all you can see of the corridor for now. And you guys hear some footsteps.
I guess that was the bell alerting somebody.
Want to just going fire an arrow into the darkness, or?
Shall I?
You guys at the top of the trapdoor for now. Are you going to climb down and in, or are you going to kind of, because it's a bit unusual, like think about being in your loft hatch and like trying to fire all the way, like it's just kind of a bit awkward. It's quite a narrow trapdoor.
Footsteps sound like they're coming closer.
They've stopped now. You heard a couple of footsteps and then nothing anymore. They've certainly not entered the radius of light.
How about we go back to Vigo, tell him what we've discovered, and see if we can grab some men or anyone that can basically go first.
Why don't we shout the bloke who's outside?
I mean, we could, but that's just one person.
Yeah, it's cannon fodder though, isn't it?
You want to send him down, see what happens?
Yeah, pretty much.
Shall we go? Do you want to?
So have we actually gone down? We haven't gone down the hatch yet, then.
No. So we could go down on our own.
If we laid down and dangled our head through it, could we see further down?
Dangling your head down, you just kind of see to the end of Lee's light. It just looks like it goes on for a lot longer. But yeah.
Go on, Angelus. Go get the man. See if we can get him down there to take a walk.
Yeah, but what if he gives us away, though?
We'll just push him down the hatch.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if anyone comes up. But if it's one person that was sent down their zone, they're just going to think it's one person, aren't they? So if they catch him. Is that or we'll go back to Vigo and see if he wants to send some of his own men down there? In fact, why not just get Vigo to send his own men down there?
But, yeah.
I mean, come on, guys. We've massacred whole villages.
That's what I mean. We don't need Vigo.
Do you think Vigo will take kindly to? He's asked you to do something, and you come crawling back, and you ask him to do it.
Ask him to do it for you. Yeah. I'm just going to go down. I'm going to drop down.
Oh dear. Okay. I follow.
I'll move you to where you drop. Well, we'll start with Ad dropping down. As you climb down the ladder, the last rung on the ladder gives way, and you hear a click, and down the corridor you hear a whoosh, and fire just spills absolutely everywhere as you hear the floor ignite, and you smell a paraffin type smell, just as the fire pushes around you. Can I get a reflex save from you, Ed?
Yeah. Shit. 22.
22. So you take half damage, so you take 5 fire damage as it whooshes around you.
Oh shit! I better take a potion.
And as the fire clears, you see that there's a bit of patch of oil under you from about a 5-foot radius that's ignited.
Right. There's a bit of a fire down here, guys. Can I neck one of my cure light wounds?
Yeah, of course you can. 1d8 plus 1, please, Ed.
Uh, 7 then altogether. Cool.
Oh, you guys still have the damage from the chitin.
Yeah. That's just like,
And Lee doesn't have many spells left.
Oh no, that's a very good point. I'm only on 14 health.
I suggest. What time of day is it, DM?
It is afternoon now.
I suggest that we go have some food and come back to this tomorrow. Or we can continue and we can all die. We're in the ropes.
We still got his armor on though.
Who's got armour on?
We have.
None of us have got armour on, have we?
So we got the armor on.
Yeah, you've got your armor on, you just don't have your clothing.
Oh, just the clothing.
Yeah, you just, the stuff that makes you stylish has just been traded out.
Oh, okay.
What do you want
just
to
all
do,
look
guys?
like monks at the moment.
Do you want to continue down this pathway of death? Or do you want to have a look around? Where else do we need to go?
What about if I do go up to that bloke up top and just go to him, hey man, come check what we found, and I'd have been walked down the corridor.
Worth a try.
Let's give it a go, because I guarantee there's going to be more traps.
Yeah, I'd rather him find them than us.
Yeah.
So the guard's in the exact same place you left him. He's whistling, looking the other way. I don't hear anything. You guys can do whatever you like to that body. I don't give a damn.
Okay, I'll head back up and I'll be like, oh man, what should we say? Should we say there's gold down here, or should we just say,
That's a bluff.
yeah, I know. My bluff's not bad. My bluff's 9.
Why don't you just tell me you found a trapdoor in this building? See what it says.
I'll go to. Do you know anything about this trapdoor we found?
He doesn't look stewy. Trapdoor? I mean, these are old buildings. Why don't you show me what you mean? And he gives you a bit of the eye. Can I get a sense motive from you, Dave?
Oh god. I think sense motive is the one I'm not really good at. Oh no, sense motive is 8. 14. 22.
Cool. This guy is immediately put his hand on his sword, and he's immediately on edge.
He's guarding.
Is he on edge with me, or?
Now you've told him you've discovered this trapdoor. He's immediately got on high alert. Like he was super relaxed before.
Okay.
He is. This is a man physically on edge. Go on, show me the trapdoor.
Okay. You first.
He says, lead the way.
No, I insist after you.
But I don't know where this trapdoor is.
But you know where the building is, though, don't you?
Shakes his head. I've not been in here for years.
God damn it. Come on then. Follow me. And I'll show him to the
where shall I position you? Shall I just position you in there, Dave?
Yeah, sure, in there.
Cool. So he's going to walk past Giles, and where are you standing right in front of it, Dave?
Right in front of the trapdoor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to enter, and he's going to go, give me a second, and he's just going to shut the door behind him. Don't want passers-by seeing any of this. And he walks up to the trapdoor, and he starts to look down. And as he does, he just takes his hand, he puts it on your shoulder, and he gives you a shove. What's your CMD, Dave?
CMD.
Yes, it's on your combat. It's on your character sheet. Combat maneuver defense. So it's basically if someone wants to push you, shove you around, drag you somewhere, that's what he would try to defeat.
Cool. So my CMB is total is +4.
I want your CMD, so that's your combat maneuver bonus.
Oh,
I want
CMD, sorry, mate,
defense.
18.
18, excellent. So he gives you a shove, and you just stumble forward a bit, and then steady yourself. And he turns around and he looks at you, and he goes, "Just joking around, pal."
Yeah, cool, man. I'll go first.
He looks down, and you notice he takes a visible sniff, and then he begins to slowly go down the ladder.
I'll say to him, watch the bottom rung.
He sort of just smiles meekly and nods. And he heads down, and immediately, as soon as he hits the bottom, he runs, jumps over the bit with the next ladder, and then heads into the rest of the darkness.
God
Gone.
Okay, so he's going to tell them all that we're here.
Yep.
So that doesn't help. At least we need to avoid the second ladder.
I say should we go in? Shall I deploy my little? I'll deploy my little orb and I'll run to. Just after that,
Just make sure you jump the ladder and get out my skeleton.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll jump over that ladder and drop your skeleton. Oh yeah, we could have just sent the skeleton down walking, couldn't we?
Yeah, but that's not going to tell us anything.
It might set up all the traps.
Right, but let's reveal more of this area. He says, there we go. So your orb lights up quite a bit more, and it's just a big, strong length of corridor in front of you. Can I get... You've got a trap finding feat, haven't you, Dave?
I do, yeah.
Could you use it?
Yes, please. Oh, not 20. Trap finding.
Yep.
Perception check. Oh, plus 10. 30.
There's a trap underneath the ladder. Again, it's the final rung of the ladder is trapped, and it's soaking in oil, that area. The rest of the corridor looks fine, at least from what you can see from here. But this run looks... Oh, sorry, I put you back there. This run looks mostly okay.
Dalek.
You can't see what's here. It's all completely hidden. But as far as you know, at least what you can see isn't booby-trapped apart from that ladder.
Cool. I'll shout up to the guy saying that the second ladder is booby-trapped. avoid the bottom rung? Am I still Daleki?
No, it's gone straight back to normal. It was just when Pascal talked, I could just hear it slightly. It's gone back to normal.
So I'm going to head over.
Oh,
Straight away, Daleki.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yes, thanks.
yeah.
You what?
Ad answered.
You thought we could hear then, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were all fine, beautiful.
Okay, cool. Good to hear it anyway.
Is
True.
this where we spend 3 hours trying to walk down a corridor?
Yeah.
More
So
likely.
are we going to assume it's safe to go up these ladders as long as we don't stand on that bottom rung?
That's all Dave knows is trapped.
Have you let us know this, Dave?
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to go down and we're going to go up this second ladder, avoiding that bottom rung.
Cool. Gonna go up the ladder.
Yeah.
I'm going down.
Yeah, you head up the ladder, and above you there is a trapdoor that you see. You can push on it. There is a big cog on the inside that you could turn that looks like it's attached to other things. Looks a bit complicated, but you should be able to open it.
There's no signs on it of where it may have been turned before, like clockwise or anti-clockwise, or
No, it just looks like a giant cog with a lever next to it, and then there's some ropes attached to the end of it.
right.
It looks more complicated than you would normally figure out, unless you're going to use like some sort of engineering proficiency. You have no idea. It just looks a bit.
No. Oh, be bad.
Looks very similar to the mechanism that was underneath the other one. You just didn't really get a good look from it from underneath because the trapdoor's already open. But it looks very similar.
I'll give the lever a pull.
Next to the cog.
Yeah.
So you pull the lever and the cog begins to turn clockwise, and you hear that ringing of the bell again, and the trapdoor comes down, and you're able to climb up, or it sort of pops and begins to fall underneath that the last one, so you can pull it down. It's kind of hinged like quite stiffly, so it's like one of those mechanisms where you have to pull it the rest of the way.
I'll head in there. Oh, God.
Cool. You enter this room and you see that there is... It's a bit like a warehouse. There's lots of goods inside. You see lots of bags, boxes, things like that. The doorway, the double door from the outside, is completely barricaded from the inside. You see it is just absolutely... Whatever could be nailed shut, it's nailed shut. There's a massive wooden bar on it. There's an iron chain across. No one would be able to, like with a battering ram on the outside, that'd be what it'd take to put this door through. So they've really secured this room quite well to be self-contained. But it's just like a mini warehouse. They've taken this small, dank house and they've crammed it to the brim with loot.
Okay.
On the wall, there's a lever.
Can I have a look through this loot, see if there's anything?
Yeah, what do you check first?
Good. The
Big
chest, I
in front of
suppose.
you?
Yeah, why not? Oh, there's going to be a trap in it.
Cool. You open the chest.
I'll shout Angelus to come up here and go, check this chest out before I kill myself.
Cool. I'll come up. I'll go check the chest.
Cool. Can I get a trap finding from you, Dave?
Yep. Uh, 28.
You sense this chest is trapped. You're not entirely sure of the type of trap, but it's relatively complex. You think that there's something attached to the hinge, and it seems like something's going to pop out from the inside if it's opened. Not entirely sure. You'll either have to try it or try and disable the device from the outside if you're going to give it a go. You do have a disabled device proficiency,
I do.
so you could attempt to disable it.
Go on, then I'll give it a go.
I'm guessing probably this whole room's going to be a booby trap.
I'll stay
D20 plus
downstairs.
DC 13. Oh, sorry, Lee.
I'll stay in the corridor downstairs. Out the way.
Roll 12. 25.
Um, 25 is a pass, and the hinge gives way, and the mechanism, you hear it just clink as it falls to the side, and you can now open the chest without any sort of trap, and you get to see the look inside the trap if you open it as well.
Sure. So let's open it up, then, Ad.
As you open it, the only thing inside this chest is a huge spring-loaded spike. Absolutely massive. This chest is huge, but this thing, it looks like something you'd fire from a ballista, and the spring is just completely coiled, but you've disabled the triggering mechanism, but it's the only thing inside this chest.
Fine.
I have a feeling Angelus's whole room may be a front to get us killed.
Yeah. Is there anything unusual? Is there any of them that look slightly different to the rest?
With your trap finding proficiency, this was the only thing that you could see was trapped. But this is the easy mark. This is a big chest in the middle of the room. It looks heavy, weighty, metal banding on it. Everything else looks like it's just stored in cheap chests, small bags, etc. So there's plenty around the rest of the room, but that was the only trap you could detect.
Okay. Should we have a quick look at other bits then before we continue?
If you want to, there's a big, massive lever on the wall. I don't know if that's for anything.
That wasn't for the trap door, or was it? Or was that's part of the clues, isn't it? We got to use clues to get to the next buildings or something. If I remember correctly. So I'll we'll go looking through stuff, and then we'll pull that lever.
Cool. As you rummage through, I'm not even going to make you roll because it's all pretty open and obvious. There's quite a bit of food in this room, actually. A lot of jerkified meat, powdered mushroom, loads of just high preservation stuff. It's quite a cool room, this, when you think about it. It's actually boarded up quite well. There's a few supplies. You find some weapons in the room, some daggers, short swords, etc. Some arrows as well. But the thing that's really interesting about this room is the big bag of mysterious powder. And there's just bags of this stuff. Like, there's just a whole pile of just strange powder.
Does it resemble anything like gunpowder?
No, it's a strangely blue powder.
Not gunpowder, is it? In some sort.
It doesn't look overly like it looks like a processed, maybe natural product. I don't know. If you want to try and apply a knowledge check, like maybe a knowledge nature or something.
I've got a knowledge nature I can do.
Yeah, I haven't got any of that.
Where's it gone? I lost it. 27.
You recognise not the blue powder, but like strange colour blue. You remember out and around of Pjent, there are some trees guarded by creatures known as the Gath Lane. And they don't like humans or elves or anything getting anywhere near these trees. The reason why is the sap is highly toxic to most forms of life. Your dad's told you to generally keep away from it, but you know that there have been individuals who've used tiny amounts of it for its hallucinogenic properties.
Right.
So this is a stack of a particularly dangerous drug that used in high doses will poison people.
I'm like, don't eat anything in this room, Angelus.
Everything as that is.
Is there a bag of this that I can take?
Yeah, there's loads of bags of it.
I'll
How much do you want? A pound, couple of pounds?
Yeah, pound a bit.
Yeah. You take a pound of this possibly illicit drug.
I might take a bag. I'll take a bag of it as well if I can.
Cool.
I'll chuck it in my bag of holding.
Cool. Just pop it down as blue tree powder.
Blue tree powder.
Cool. So we don't notice anything else then apart from this lever.
Not up here, but Jars, could you roll for initiative, please?
Oh no.
Oh no, mate.
Initiative.
Actually, can everyone roll for initiative?
Oh, shit.
Oh, come
Oh
on.
crap. 10.
Oh, 18.
18, you're saying?
Yeah.
20 for me.
Okay. So, Lee, out of the darkness, you see the guard sprinting towards you, taking a surprise round. He's going to walk straight up to you and just whack you with his short sword. What's your AC? Oh, wait, I know what your AC is because you've got a new AC because of your ring of protection. Your AC is 12 in total. He beats your AC, and with his short sword, he does 6 damage to you, Lee.
Get out. 6 damage. Can I shout?
Yeah, you shout and alert the others, and they'll go on the same round that you go, but you're on a surprise round at the moment. The next guy comes. Sorry, the first one's a bandit. The second one's I'll do it the other way around. So the guard came up and whacked you with his short sword. The second guy has a spear.
Oh,
so he comes in and he basically shoves his spear over the other guy's shoulder to stick you with it, and he misses miserably. He's not able to get you with his long spear. So that is that. And I tell you what, we'll finish there and we'll resolve this combat next time on Adventures in Norvald.